It's not uncommon knowledge that when you go on holiday or you go on vacation, you want to take some time away from your fitness goals. You're wanting to go off your diet, you're wanting to not go to the gym as much, which is completely understandable. But I understand that there's a cohort of people out there who are like me, they want to keep their fitness goals in mind when they're traveling, and they want to make sure that they are staying in the best shape possible when they're on holiday, when they're on vacation, so they can look their best and obviously feel more confident in a completely new setting. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over the 3 most important things I'm doing right now while traveling Bali, Indonesia, to make sure I'm staying lean and staying consistent on my cuts, and overall making sure I look and feel my absolute best throughout the 2 months while I'm here. Let's go. Action number 1 is going to be walking more. I'm talking 15 to 20k steps on average every single day. Understand that when you're in a new location, you're wanting to explore it a little bit more. You want to live life. You're wanting to see what different cultures have to offer. And that is a very, very good way for you to go ahead and get your daily step counts up, burn 600, 400, 800, maybe even 1,000 calories just from straight walking, and you won't even notice it. You will be burning 600 more calories, 400 more calories, 800 more calories without even stepping foot in the gym. Therefore, keeping your body fat lower, making sure your metabolism is burning fats, and overall feeling and being more mentally clear, that is going to be one of the biggest benefits you're going to get from walking. And again, it's one of those easy things you can slide into any kind of activity. So if you're out there, you're exploring. If you're out there, you're on vacation, and you want to just go see what other cultures or the location has to offer, try walk at every single opportunity you take. I understand sometimes it might be a little bit easier to get a moped, it's easier to get a car, and if it's a considerably large distance you need to travel, then by all means that's okay. But if it's 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers even worth of a walk, then by all means, go walk it. Get those step counts up, because trust me, they're going to reveal your abs even more, especially if you pair it with these next 2 steps. Step number 2 is being more calorie conscious when it comes to picking out what you're going to have for dinner, lunch, or maybe even breakfast. Understand that when you are on holiday, I understand you want to go out, you want to eat whatever you want, and by all means, that's completely okay. However, if you want to be that person who's wanting to keep their fitness goals in mind 80 to even 90% of the time, obviously have some leniency 20 to 10% of the time, then by all means, listen up. When it comes to going out, have a very clear idea on what you're wanting to consume. Options like steak, yes, some options might be more fatty than others, but again, very high in protein. That will help you hit your daily protein intake very, very well. Next would be chicken, eggs, tuna, salmon, whitefish especially, all those different things. If you're able to circle your dinner around one of these key proteins, hitting your protein goal and staying more full, making sure you're hitting your protein goal so you can actually build muscle while you're out training and while you're out on vacation, then that is going to be one of the best steps you can go ahead and do. Now, even leading off that with carbohydrates and fats, understand that carbohydrate timing, that can be a very, very crucial thing you can do to make sure that you don't overconsume, but also you get the most out of every single carbohydrate and every single fat that you consume. So ways you can go about doing this is having a lot of carbs before your training, before a really, really big event. So you have plenty of energy to go exert yourself, go enjoy it. Even if it's not going to the gym, imagine if you go onto a jet ski or if you go to a water park, for example, and you want to be bouncing around, you want to be running around all over the place. Your experience and your overall energy levels and your ability to go exert yourself and go play and have more fun will be 10 times higher if you've got some carbohydrates in your system to go burn. Now, just to make sure I make things really clear, you don't need to have carbohydrates as soon as you wake up in the morning unless you're going for a training or whatever. That is typically a good window for your fats to come into play. So if you're having salmon, if you're having eggs, those kinds of foods that are really healthy for your brain, if you're having that first thing in the morning, you'll be more cognitively switched on and therefore be able to function a little bit better throughout the day. So if we were to just quickly reassess everything, fats for breakfast, that's going to be amazing when it comes to benefiting you cognitively. Carbs second, so imagine that for lunch or maybe even pre-workout. So again, you've got more energy to go exert yourself. And then thirdly, protein. If you can spread this out throughout the day, then that will be absolutely amazing. Me personally, I just like having most of my protein later on in the evening because protein makes you feel more full compared to the carbohydrates and fats. And I don't know about you, I like going to bed feeling really, really full, especially during a cut as I am right now. So with that being said, fats for breakfast, typically going to benefit you cognitively. Carbohydrates, even if you want to distribute it between lunch and dinners, but primarily having it before your pre-workout. So again, you have energy to exert yourself. And then most of your proteins will be amazing to have lunch, breakfast, and dinner if you want. And then finally, for step number 3 on what I'm doing to make sure my cut is successful while I'm out and about traveling Bali, Indonesia, is making sure that I'm not too stressed about things. Understand, if you put your body in a position where it is stressed, it is going to be holding on to things like body fat, because if you want to look at the evolutionary side of things, if your body is super duper stressed, it wants to make sure that it has enough fuel. So if it's getting chased by a tiger, for example, or it's hunting something and it has an abundance of food, like it doesn't have too much to work with, then it is going to automatically hold body fat there, so you're able to have energy easily accessible. Because again, evolutionarily, you wouldn't actually know if you're going to be eating anytime soon or eating later, or you wouldn't have a guaranteed lunch or dinner. So understand that if you want to maximize your body's ability to burn fat and hold on to muscle, trying to be as relaxed as possible, getting rid of stress, will be one of the best things you can go ahead and do. So examples we could look at when it comes to actually decreasing stress in these situations would be either A, not stressing too much about the food. So imagine you're out there, you're thinking, shit, I can't have this, I can't have this, da, 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 da. I really can't have that, I can't have this, da, da, da. You're stressing so much about the foods that you can and can't eat. Remember, when it comes down to it, 10% of the time, have some leniency. Just don't really worry about it too much. And that is going to have a direct correlation with you stressing about the foods that you're consuming and stressing about whether or not it's ultra nutritious and it's super high in minerals and vitamins and fibers. If you can have some leniency with it, relax, get rid of that stress, it is just going to make holding on to muscle and burning body fat so much easier. And the same goes with any general activities. If it's a very high stress activity, it's spiking your cortisol. Imagine doing a HIIT class all the time, 7 days a week. That is going to spike your cortisol through the roof. Also going ahead and having coffee fasted, sometimes that causes people's cortisols. This does kind of depend on the person, but it can cause people's cortisols to go up. Just small things like that, just being aware of them. But at the end of the day, trying to just be relaxed, in a mindset where you're more relaxed, you're more calm, your cortisol levels aren't super high, your mind is producing a lot of serotonin, which is the opposite of the cortisol, which is the stress hormone. That is going to put your body and you in the perfect position to actually shred body fat while also holding on to as much muscle as possible. These are just 3 things I'm doing that are working really well for me. So again, when it comes down to it, steps, trying to rack up as many steps as I can while I go out and I explore Bali while I'm also working. Second would also be picking healthy options when it comes to meals that I'm consuming. Just understanding that sometimes having more carbs before my pre-workout meal will benefit me. And then also proteins later on. I just sleep better when it comes to having more protein in my system. So understanding all those different concepts and actually trying to opt for an overall healthy diet. Again, 10 to 20% is absolutely okay. And then third and finally, just trying to take your mind out of a stressful state, understanding that the more serotonin your mind is producing, the better it is for you to, again, shred body fat, hold on to muscle. Those are the 3 things I'm currently doing. This is just what's working really well for me. I'm not a certified nutritionist. I'm not a professional bodybuilder who understands every single concept around gaining muscle and losing fat, but I do understand the basics, and the basics will do 90 to 95% of the work when it comes to getting into the best shape of your life. So take that with a grain of salt, and I'm gonna go have some dinner, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.